The history of video games goes as far back as early 1940s and 1950s, when academics began designing simple games, simulations, and artificial intelligence programs as a part of their computer science research. Video gaming would not reach mainstream popularity until the 1970s and 1980s, when arcade video games, gaming consoles, and home computer games were introduced to the general public. Also today, with new technology that gets better and better each year. The first video game that gained a lot of mainstream popularity was a cabinet-style game made by Alan Alcorn called Pong. This led to the start of the video game industry soon after its release. Several companies began producing games that copied Pong's gameplay, and eventually released new types of games. Atari released a home version of Pong exclusively through Sears retail stores during the 1975 Christmas season. Now you can still play this game on internet websites and other places. In 1978, then on, is when arcade games really started to pick up speed as the golden age of arcade games. This is when you would see many arcade cabinet games seen in shopping malls, traditional storefronts, restaurants, and convenience stores. This is when it started to be a hobby. Space Invaders would go to sell over 360,000 arcade cabinets worldwide and generate about 2 billion quarters in revenue. There are many arcade-style games that have been released back then and made a lot of money. Some home consoles did not really pick up until the late 70s and early 80s. Then on, the known home console are Atari 2600, Nintendo Entertainment System, NES, and many more. In 1985, the American video game console market was revived with Nintendo's release of its 8-bit console, Nintendo's Entertainment System. The original release, it was offered 3 bundles. The control deck bundle came in 2 versions, one with no game and priced at $89.99, and one with Super Mario Bros. Priced at $99.99. Both including 2 controllers. The third version offered deluxe set, retailing at $199.99, and included the Light Gun 2 controllers, 2 game packs, Gyromite, and Duck Hunt. This console was a great way to look back and see how much things have changed, and also to remember by. The 1990s were a decade of market innovation in the video game. It was decided of transition from raster graphics to 3D graphics, and gave rise to several genres of video games, including first-person shooters, real-time strategy. Handheld gaming began to become more popular throughout the decade, thanks in part to the release of the Game Boy in 1989. Although still popular in early 1990s, began to decline as the home consoles became more common. In 1991, the game and character Sonic the Hedgehog was introduced. The game gave Sega's Mega Drive Genesis console mainstream popularity, and revealed Nintendo's Mario franchise. Its named character became the mascot of Sega and one of the most recognizable video game characters in history. Jump forward a couple years and we get Nintendo 64. Just to note that I started on the console and it was fun to have this console, and I still have it today. If you ever had one, you would know to blow into a cartridge and to make the game work. Funny thing is that on the back of the game it had a label saying not to blow in the cartridge. While cartridges had faster access times, were more durable and resistant to piracy, CDs could hold far more data and much more cheaper to produce, causing many game companies to turn to Nintendo CD-based competitors. The Nintendo 64 achieved huge success in North America and Europe, though it never passed PlayStation sales or was popular in Japan, and begun to show a decline in third-party support for Nintendo's home consoles. Nintendo 64 was the last major home console to use cartridge format. By the end of this period, Sony had become the leader in the video game market. The second release of the generation was Sony's PlayStation 2, which featured DVD-based game discs with 4.7 GB capacity, increased processor and graphics capability over its predecessor, including progressive scan component video connections, built-in 4-layer connection capability, available Ethernet adapter, and ability to play DVD movies and audio CDs, eliminating the need for a separate DVD player and making PS2 a complete home entertainment console. Let's jump forward last generation from 2004 to 2006. Now that we got the old school out of the way, now I can talk about the newer consoles. 2004, the Wii was the first motion controller console. Had a cool way to get family and non-gamers into the living room and have fun. We had great sales later on because of the way it captured families. Soon you'll see out of stock Wii's because of this. Nintendo was sort of back on the saddle. Then Microsoft was next to release the Xbox 360 in 2005. This console had good online gaming and good games to have, like Halo. But 3 years later, the Red Ring of Death was bad taste to gamers. The Red Ring is where the console would have processor problems and many other problems that made this happen. Then they released a slimmer version of the Xbox 360. Then on, no more problems with the 360. In 2006, Sony released a $600 console. The PS3 was first released in Japan on November 11, 2006 at 7 o'clock. According to Media Crate, 81,639 PS3 systems were sold within 24 hours of its introduction in Japan. Soon after it released in Japan, PS3 was released in North America on November 17, 2006. Reports of violence surrounded the release of PS3. Customer was shot. Campers were robbed at gunpoint. Customers were shot in drive-by shooting with BB guns, and 60 campers fought over 10 systems. On a better note, you could almost do anything. Go to the internet, print with a printer, use a mouse and keyboard for web browsing, watch Blu-ray movies, and many more. The PS3 had a similar problem to the Xbox 360, but it was called a Yellow Live Death. Sony did the same thing Microsoft did. They released a slim and extended the warranty so that consumers can get a newer PS3.